No cows were hurt in the making of this video.
Hi everyone, in this video we're going to cover some of the top products to avoid when selling on Amazon. Firstly, products with a patent. And in this case, the owner of this product has even put in, owner of US design patent will take legal action to stop infringing product. So anything where it's mentioned in the description or the bullets or the features that it has a patent, or you suspect that the item might be very unique and have some sort of design patent or product or utility patent, it's best to double check whether there is one. And if you're in any way unsure, it's just better to avoid that kind of product in that category, because we don't want any legal issues. For your initial first few products, even your first 20 products, you really want to avoid anything complicated like this anyway. Anything electronic or anything that has many moving parts that can potentially go wrong, but especially where they're warning you that if you do anything similar, they'll come after you. Okay, next products to avoid. Anything where brand dominates. So in the sneaker category, maybe the backpack category, it's going to be very, very hard for you to stand out because people are generally looking for branded items. If it's something like a kitchen spatula, people don't care. That's a much better category to begin to look into, say the kitchen products. But something like sneakers, something like backpacks, certain electronics, people are going to go with brands they trust, and also brands which have been marketing and advertising on TV and nationwide, because they want that look, they want that style. So it's going to be very hard for you to compete within this area as a private label seller. So when you're looking at a product, consider, is this the type of product that I would choose based on brand, or is it normally selected based on brand? Something like a saucepan, a rubbish bin, odd plastic items. People are not going to be selective based on brand. They're more going to be selective based on the price and value of the item, whereas certain goods, they're going to be looking for the brand. So you just need to consider that. And then the next thing we want to avoid is heavy items. So really, I'm talking really heavy items. In this case, we have this 60-inch solid steel barbell selling for $30. It's going to be almost impossible to make any money from that. It's 16.1 pounds shipping weight. So one, you've got the FBA fees, and two, you've got the freight into Amazon, whether that's domestic or international. There's going to be very little margin left at the end of the day for these big heavy items, because they're going to be eaten up by fees and transportation costs. So initially, when you're doing Amazon FBA or any e-commerce, it's best to avoid very bulky heavy items to keep your freight and your handling and FBA fees low to start with. Later on, when you are more established, you can look at certain items which are larger if you feel that the profit margin justifies dealing in the bigger, heavier, bulky, expensive items. Okay, other items to avoid are very complicated items which have a lot of moving parts. Something like a kitchen spatula, it's very easy to test the quality. It's usually made by a machine which is injected plastic, so it's the quality is going to be standard throughout the products. Whereas something with many different components, like an ionizer, for example, is going to have many things that can potentially go wrong. You need to be an expert in the product if you're dealing in it, so that you can check the quality. Even if you've got 100 of these shipped to your house for you to check and you turn them all on, a quick 1 or 2 minute check isn't going to tell you whether it's a good item or not. You want to deal with items which you feel very, very comfortable that you know for sure that it's good. And so complicated items, electrical items, it's best to avoid. Even simpler electronics, or any electronics at the start, you want to totally avoid as well. At least for your first 10 or 20 products, until you've built up enough cash flow and experience to begin handling more complex items. And the reason is, even something like a charger, there's actually a lot that goes into this product. It's very, very complicated. I used to deal with the quality control for millions of units of chargers coming out of China for the European market. And often there'll be problems even with the best factories, Taiwanese run factories in China. There was still a lot of problems with the chargers. Often we would have to reject shipments in China, and it was very, very difficult to keep a decent quality standard at a reasonable price. And this is a very, very competitive market because it's big volumes, so the price has been driven right down. So with a low price and low margin, there's not much room for error at all. And honestly, a lot of stuff does go wrong with these kind of electronics. It's very hard to maintain a decent quality standard at big volume, and it's all hand assembled. Even though it looks machine made, all the parts are machine made, but then it's put together by someone manually mostly, and so there's a lot of room for error. So avoid electronics. And then the final product areas to avoid are things which are extremely competitive, and you can tell by the number of results for search, the number of variations of a product. I mean, here you have more than 400 pages deep of just iPhone cases. There's more than 8 million iPhone cases listed on Amazon. So this is a very competitive product. The number of reviews up here is massive. We just want to avoid that. So just to summarize, avoid products with a patent or potentially a design patent on them. Avoid goods where usually the branded product will dominate. Avoid very heavy and bulky items. Avoid complex items. Avoid electronics in general. And try to avoid competitive niches. This video will self-destruct in 5 seconds.